Hello, good Woche, everyone. Tremendous. We've just have gone through Shavuos, Pashas Naso. I saw something very interesting that Moshe says in Kut Halachas. In this week's Parsha that we read, the first, after saying, which Levites are going to do what last week, this week. Then the Torah goes into two seemingly unrelated issues. One of them is the issue of sota, which where the husband becomes jealous and he warns his wife not to seclude herself with a specific person, and she in fact secludes herself with this person. The witnesses that see it, and now there's a doubt whether she is allowed for her husband or not. And her husband is supposed to take her to Beis Hamikdash, and where she will drink the bitter water, which is the water that Megillah, with all those things, all this issue about sota will be written on and be wiped into the water, and she's drinking this water. And these waters are like, if she has in fact transgressed chas v'shalom, that she has a horrible punishment that happens to her right there on the spot. It's the only extranatural occurrence that the Torah says for sure will happen if that's the case. However, if she is innocent of wrongdoing, she's being blessed, specifically being of children and so forth and so on. And right afterwards, we have the issue of a Nazarite, who swears himself off any kind of wine, any kind of things that come out of the grape, and the plain period of Nazirus is 30 days. And Rashi speaks about why is the Pasha of the Nazir is adjacent to the Pasha of Sota. So Rashi says, or the Gemara says, that anyone who witnesses Sota that has messed up should swear himself off wine, because it is wine, that brings about looseness, which brings about improper behavior. Reb Nosson throws a different point of view of that on the fact that these two parshas are adjacent to one another. Very interestingly, the Torah says that when a husband feels, there's a spirit of jealousy that comes upon him, we're not talking about um, you know, being a control freak or being on some kind of a, some kind of persecution of fear of loss of control. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a ruach of kina, of jealousy. And so the Torah says, and there will pass upon him a spirit of jealousy, and she has in fact been contaminated, and he has, or there has, will pass upon him a spirit of jealousy, and she has not been contaminated. Both cases, we see that there is spirit of jealousy that comes upon him. And it's separate cases where it says this, and she's contaminated, and this, if she's not contaminated. Both cases we're saying, and the Gemara says that the spirit of contaminated Maseches Sotah, the Gemara says, is a spirit that comes from Kedusha. It comes from the holiness. I mean, the nature of a relationship in a couple is that when it comes to a case of unfaithfulness, there's really nothing that can be more painful and indeed uglier than when the faith between the couple is broken. Horrible. But Nassim says the Nazir. Why would the Nazir go ahead and accept upon himself an Nazirus to become a Nazarite? In and on itself, the whole concept that the person is able to accept something upon himself, to make a nader, and that something becomes a mitzvah, either a positive or a negative mitzvah, d'oraisa. That's if a person, asks upon himself, benader, I don't know, to sharpen a pencil. Sharpening a pencil for this person is like eating pork. It's issa d'oraisa. And sharpening pencils have nothing to do with Torah. The person, by uttering the words, puts it into the Torah. Makes a mitzvah d'oraisa from something which has may have absolutely nothing to do with mitzvahs, averos, or anything. It also brings about this Indian that this Indian of making a vow and creating something, creating a biblical prohibition upon himself from something, is also the result of jealousy. What kind of jealousy? It's a jealousy of why would anybody make a vow and to forbid something on himself, be it wine, be it anything else? The answer is because the person sees that he has become a fair game by the Yetzer Hara. I don't want to do something, and the Yetzer Hara picks up on me and makes me do things that I'd rather not do. And I'm watching myself day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out, doing things that I'd rather not do. It's very easy to say, something, oh, just don't do it. We all know that it's much more complicated than that. Person has this spirit of jealousy about himself, like a husband regarding his wife. Like that all stems from the jealousy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu about his nation. We are HaKadosh Baruch Hu's wife. We have to be faithful to him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a jealous God. The Zohar HaKadosh gives an amazing insight to this particular jealousy. The Zohar says any love that doesn't have jealousy built into it is not a true love. Jealousy is a built-in protective mechanism of true love. If a person doesn't care what it was his wife does, he doesn't love it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't care about what it is that we are doing. It means he doesn't love us. But who cares? He cares a lot. He's jealous. When a person is jealous over the free roaming that the Yetzer Hara allows itself with him, he becomes jealous. He becomes incensed. I'm not Hefker. He's able to make a neder and make something which is not a mitzvah and aver into a mitzvah and aver d'oraisa on himself. When he does that, a person is zeicha to break down and keep down the force of nature, because making a native something into a mitzvah d'oraisa is beyond nature. He forces down nature, and he merits a tremendous craving for Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's his schar. So I just thought that I would share it with you. You know, Ibn Nosson says that he got a letter from his son, and he tells him about various, things that happened between him and himself, and how unhappy he is with his Avodas Hashem and so forth and so on. And Nosson tells him, I don't know exactly what it is his son wrote, but Nosson writes him back. He told his son, you should know that from the day I was born until today, there wasn't a day that passed over me that I didn't go through whatever it is you're going through. Every single day, person doesn't know if he's coming or is going. Have I succeeded? Have I failed? No idea. At certain days, the water come up to the nose, and you have no idea from where on earth you're gonna be saved from. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saves you the last moment, again, again, again. And throughout this tumult, this chaos, this lack of direction, a person davens a little, learns a little, does some mitzvahs, speaks with people, is also in Parnasa, and every single day passes, and another day, this entire world just fleets away. And the little Torah, the little mitzvah, whatever it is the thing that the person keeps on his hand. He says, and above everything, it's the fact that we are leaning on this superior force, which is the merit and the koyach of the tzaddikim of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, which is above everything, above all the tikkun, above all the Torahs, above everything else, is the koyach of the tzaddik, which we are leaning on. And we're going through life. And this in of a person seeing to himself, like, what's going on with me? I'm like, anybody who wants to come and just, pluck something off my life. It's hard, just like I'm hefker. That comes from the kino of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the jealousy, that's the trickle down jealousy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a good thing. It's kino as a ruach de kedusha. Okay, and now let's tell a story from the Baal Shem Tov. One time the Baal Shem Tov came to spend Shabbos by a village, and when they said it in the house of an innkeeper that rented his inn from the owner of the village, the Baal Shem Tov's come to the village, immediately he ran to him, invited him to make Shabbos by him. Now, this villager had no children. He thought, without Hashem, I have Yeshua, the Baal Shem Tov will bless me, I should have children. So the Baal Shem Tov came to the village, he saw this innkeeper running to him, and he asked him if he can spend Shabbos by him. So the innkeeper says, of course. So the Baal Shem Tov asked him, are you going to have a minion by you? So the innkeeper counted how many people he has, and he says, altogether there'll be 9 people. So Baal Shem Tov says, okay, that's the case, there will be a minion. When the Baal Shem Tov came with his wagon to the house of, the innkeeper, there was a miracle that the gates actually raised up, and the wagon came in. Everybody saw this, and the innkeeper said, wow, for sure, without Hashem, I'll have the Yeshua. Well, after Chatzos, the Baal Shem Tov wanted to say a minyan for Mincha, because the Baal Shem Tov always davened an early Mincha, only 9 people. So the Baal Shem Tov said, there'll be a minyan. And some people, not that sure. So while this was going on, the innkeeper had a thought. On the other side of the river, there's a small house with a very sick person who is just lying there like a stone. And the only thing he eats is whatever they feed him a little bit, that's all he lives from. So the innkeeper told the Baal Shem Tov that on the other side of the river, there's this sick person. Baal Shem Tov said, go bring him. He will mashlim asamini. And he says, take my stick, my walking cane, and put it in his hand and tell him to come to be mashlim amini. So they went to the sick person, they gave him the stick in his hand, but he wouldn't move. He came back, Baal Shem Tov took his hat off and gave them, and says, put my hat on her. And then put the stick, and for sure he will come. And so it happened. They put the hat, and they put the stick, and the sick person got up, the Mashlim Amini, and he became healthy, and he lived for 10 more years. When the innkeeper saw these 2 meifsim that Baal Shem Tov did, with the wagon and with the sick person, came the Baal Shem Tov doing the Suda, and he said, look, he's already in his middle age and still have no children. And soon, he'll be old, won't be able to have children. The Baal Shem Tov told him, you will have children, you'll have sons. And so he lived on until age 60, and his wife passed away, and he married another wife, and he had 2 sons from her. And the bracha of the Baal Shem Tov was Mekayim. This is one of the wondrous, more opaque stories about the Baal Shem Tov. Usually, when you tell a story about Shem Tov, There seems to be some kind of a lesson that one can learn from the story. Over here, it's like totally opaque. The only thing that we can see here is that the world was given to the tzaddikim to do whatever it is they need to do. Seemingly, over here, there were two miracles that, in the face of it, looked like there's no. Why couldn't the wagon of the Baal Shemtov stay outside and it has to open up and it should come in? What's the story? The answer is we don't know. And this the important lesson that we need to learn from that is the tzaddikim are really as unfathomable as the Kodesh Baruch Hu is. You know, in the Nes Chanukah is the only miracle that the miracle itself was the reason for an outside of nature conduit that Kodesh Baruch Hu has conducted the world. In all other places, Kriya Samsov, all the other miracles, there's always, of course, this aspect of revelation of Kodesh Baruch Hu, that nature does not exist, everything is Ratzon Hashem. But in Hanukkah, the actual dispute between Teres Yavan and Teres Israel was that thing. That's what I said, there's nothing else but nature. The Nes was a direct miracle victory. The miracle was a victory over the basic philosophy, the basic dispute between Teres Israel and Teres Yavan. All the other miracles, we have no idea what Kadosh Baruch Hu Dafka wanted to do it through a miracle. We see it again and again and again in various places. This is to teach us, at least that's what I take out of it. We have no idea why the tzaddik can do whatever it is that they do. A tzaddik does something in order to affect a person. Sometimes he does something in order to affect generations to come. Something, that will happen, that will affect, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 generations ahead, or to fix something a few generations behind. I have no idea. But the whole thing is that when we understand that when a person, Tzedek Kodesh Baruch Hu, realizes that there is no other purpose in this world except to serve Hashem. The tzaddikim that from the moment go realize, everything Hashem does is good, and they are constantly having their minds on Olam Haba. In other words, they see the pit, like the pit that they will be brought to after they leave this world, already before their eyes from the moment go. When a person is like this world has nothing to sell him. The whole fight is that this world like pulls your sight away and you're supposed to bring it back. And even when I bring it back, it's still, okay, kuli ulai, whatever, like we spoke before. And then there's this struggle, this jealousy that I have, which is Kinas Hashem. But I don't understand how this free range that the Sitra takes upon me, like I'm, what do they think? I'm Hefker? Who does it think I am? Which Ibn Rosen says this is the the root for the Indian of Nidorim, of Nazir. Let's take a look at what Rabbeinu says in this week's Sichos Haran. And we'll see where this takes us. This Sicha 246, this is Reish Memvav. Haiti mistakel al chilosai, I would watch Rabbeinu eat. V'hoyo miskaven, and Rabbeinu meant, שלא להכניס הדובר שאוכל לתוך הפה והחך. He would not put the food into his mouth, into the roof of his mouth. Okay, מכניס בין שיניו, he would put it between his teeth, ולא יעשו שם, and he would chew it over there, without the mouth helping him, the inside of the mouth, the roof of the mouth helping him. And somebody who eats that way almost does not feel any taste in his achim. Also says, you cannot explain this in writing. Anybody who sees this will understand it by himself. Anybody who wants to break the lust for eating totally, not to receive any pleasure from his food, if you follow this particular advice, you can very easily attain this, merit it. Obviously, you have to be interested in breaking Taivas Achila. It's not necessarily a given. It's not something that just in on itself. A person needs to daven and to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to want b'chalal to break Taivas Achila. People like me are still busy in finding out how do you make the best steak. You should make it this, you make it that. Break Taivas Achila, not to enjoy anything of the Achila. A person can't even approach to want to break Taivas Achila. I'm not even talking about breaking Taivas Achila, but to want to break Taivas Achila without davening for it. You have to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to help you, so you'll be zoche, to want to break Taivas Achila. That's point number one. Obviously, it's the same thing with guarding a person's eyes, with breaking all the taivas, all the urges for this world, and we totally focused, on Hashem's Baruch. But there's a second nekuda to this, which is Avodas Hashem is done with the minusha, with the small stuff. A person is usually, filled up with a lot of doubts of what I do is actually Avodas Hashem or not. Does this count or not? And somehow we almost always end up calculating that the bad stuff that I did is truly bad. The good stuff, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen if I'm going to say that it's good and then it turned out not to be that good. I've been kidding myself or, become Baal guy, but whatever it is that, what is The answer is that no, this is not so. The very same way that the bad is bad, the good is good. In fact, it is 500 times bigger. Avodas Hashem is when you have a stray thought or immoral thought, or a thought of looking at someone and looking at them in a jaundiced eye, or saying something, or breaking that and stopping it in its track is avodas Hashem. That's avodas Hashem. That's the service of Hashem. That's what it is. Yes, getting up for seeking is tremendous. Waking up chatzos is tremendous. All the avodas are tremendous. But avodas Hashem is when you put something in your mouth and you try not to taste it. They say about Nahal Tulchiner, they said that his son, Rabbi Nachman, said he has never seen his father salt his food. And avodas Hashem of Nahal Tulchiner was, after Yom Kippur, he would wait before he hurried home. And he said, to eat a little less, Tavis Achila. Avodas Hashem is done with the small things in your life, inside your head, the words that you say to other people, obviously the things that you do or don't do. The amazing thing about it is that practically anything and everything in your life can be avodas Hashem. The biggest disfavor that a person can do himself is to say, something. From here to here, okay, it's free for all. I can do whatever I want. It's okay, I can enjoy, why not? This is when a person says that this area of my life is outside of avodas Hashem. Baal Shemtov says, "V'sartem v'avadatem elohim acherim." You should stray, and you will serve foreign idols. So he said, "V'sartem." The minute that you stray, the minute that you feel, okay, this area is a free trade zone. I can do whatever I want. It's showing v'avadatem elohim acherim. You're already serving idols. Now, that sounds, and it is, extremely extreme. Okay? But the point is that it's only when you realize that the total extreme is the ideal that you can know wherever you find yourself, okay, so you can't overcome. You need to enjoy food. Sometimes you need to enjoy food. I mean, most of the time, you need to enjoy food, not because you are, a grub hedonist, but because, it's emotional needs, food, comfort food, whatever it is. Then people eat for many reasons. But the thing is, you need to have your compass on the real truth. Don't kid yourself. The minute you say, okay, this is okay, that's okay. Here I can do whatever it is that I want. Milchatchila, to begin with, that you are outside the game. This is when that happens. Look, we are living our lives now. Baruch Hashem, we are connected to the Tzaddik Emes, whose koyach is beyond anything. That's the strongest force in creation is the koyach of the tzaddik. The same way that Yesod Offer, the sort of earth, which is gravity, is the most influential force in nature, in the universe. Back and forth. Same way, the koyach of the tzaddik, which is offer, which is gravity, koyach HaMoshiach of the tzaddik, is the strongest force in creation. Baruch Hashem, we're standing on the ground. We are standing on the Sichos of Rabbeinu HaKadosh. In the meantime, we grapple with things, we're struggling with things, we get up, we fall down, we are winning, we're winning a hole-in-one from, to the most colossal calamity. It doesn't matter. Do keep your eyes on the ball, keep your eyes on what is the tachlis. There's no other tachlis in this world except to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is it. Where am I? Okay, I may be here, maybe there, but this is it. At Hashem, the koach of the tzaddik, everything will be fine. Baruch Hu should help us with At Hashem as we're heading into the summer. We'll all have At Hashem a peaceful summer. Kadosh Baruch Hu At Hashem, we machnia all our enemies under us, gashmis, ruchnis, and we'll take all these Yidden that are outside, looking for solace in whatever nonsense they are looking for. Well, to turn their eyes to Kadosh Baruch Hu and ask Him, bring us back to you. Save us from what we need to be faced. We need to be saved. B'ezrat Hashem, v'zochen, to Geula Shlema, B'ezrat Hashem. V'vias Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'ezrat Hashem, soon, and nowadays. Kol Tov, and a fantastic week, B'ezrat Hashem. Okay.